States. It's Mark from the United States.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Mark from the States. How are we doing today? I'm doing fantastic. How are you? I'm hoping you're fantastic as well. Thanks again for coming and hanging out today. Today is Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, or the 5th of May, as some others would say. Kind of a pseudo holiday, I guess, here. It's kind of like St. Patrick's Day in a way, how it is in the States. Of course, if you have Mexican heritage, you probably celebrate this. I don't even think it's celebrated, to be honest with you. I don't think it's even celebrated in Mexico. It's kind of an American conceived way to probably sell more beer or something. It's a lot like St. Patrick's, unless you're like Irish and really respect the holiday. It's just just an excuse for a lot of people just to go out and get drunk, I guess. That's how it seems anyway. Anyway, today we're going to look at History Lord. He is wonderful. Go support his channel. We did a video of his a little while back on the city of Wharf, and it was awesome. And he, of course, has been just wonderful in allowing us to watch these videos. So, big shout out to him, Lord Hume, and please go support his channel. It's really important that you do. If you don't already, like, subscribe, even just one like. It does help. It's crazy, but it does. He is just a lot of fun. You just got to go check it out if you haven't already. So, yeah, Big Fake Couch, you know the drill. Before we start, I got another little fact from the book of London and its guide of curious wanderers. I'd like to read you another. I won't be doing this every video, just in case you're wondering. But I just, when I have a couple minutes, I read through it and I find something very interesting and something maybe that you didn't know. Obviously, everything in here, well, a good 99% of it, I didn't know, but I thought this was kind of interesting. It's the Leaning Tower of London. Now, of course, we're talking about, what is it, Leadenhall? Leadenhall building. You know what the Leadenhall building is? Do you know which one is the Leadenhall building? Of course, we're talking about the City of London. We have some of the most iconic and recognizable buildings in modern day London are skyscrapers, for example, the Gherkin, the Shard, the Scalpel, the Leadenhall building, otherwise known as the... Allow you to shout the answer. Do you know its nickname? It is the Cheese Grater. It's a wedge-shaped skyscraper built in 2014, so not that old. It was designed by Richard Rogers. The distinctive shape, now here's the part that I think maybe some of you didn't know. The shape was to ensure that it leant away from St. Paul's Cathedral. There was a purpose for that, having that shape, and maintained the protected sightline of the cathedral from Fleet Street. Interesting. How many of you knew that? Little bit of architectural history, trivia, whatever you want to call it. The cheese grater. Now, I have heard of the cheese grater, of it being called that. Didn't know it was the Leadenhall. Building itself had a name, of course, but it is London's skyline when it refers to skyscrapers. Yes, very unique in some of the buildings that they have. So it's can't wait to see it. I'm thinking about doing a live stream. I know a lot of you have asked for it in the past. I don't know if you still care if I do one or not, but I'm thinking about, we can get together and just talk about current events, life, what's going on. When am I coming to the UK? My son, of course, is coming in a month, middle of June, I believe, June 19th. So it's about 2 months, a little over, 1 month, a little over a month and a couple weeks away, however that works out. So I'm excited for him. I know he's getting excited as well. Today we're going to watch the History Lord, and he's going to talk about Wapping. Now, I've heard of Wapping, and I'm not too familiar. It's close to London, yes? Is it in London? It's a part of London, I guess. My guess is it's an area of London. But I've seen it, and I can't remember why I've seen it. So we're going to take a look at History Lord. It's not a long video, but it's going to be informative because I enjoy his videos. Hopefully you do too. So please come sit with me here and let's take a look at a tour of Wapping.
Welcome to the History Lord. You join us here in Wapping, just outside Wapping Station. And today we're going to have a wander from here to near the Tower of London to St Catherine's Dock and just show you a few things in between. So, as always, roll the titles.
Please go support his channel. Important. Thank you.
Welcome to London. As the 100 goes by, there we are, let that go by. So it's not the 100, it's a D3, I do apologise. There's 2 routes run down here. Anyway, we're going to start with Wapping Station because there's been a station here and trains here since 1869. I think December 1869, the first trains ran through the tunnel under the Thames here. But the tunnel originated quite a few years before. It started in 1825 by Mark Brunel, the father of the famous Isambard Kingdom Brunel.
I was just going to say that. That name sounds really familiar. Oh my gosh, that's cool. I'm going to go ahead and make this a screenshot here just so I have it to use. Thank you. Yeah, Brunel, famous name, of course, when it comes to architectural and just overall of building of things. Wapping. What an interesting name. It really is.
And it took 18 years to finish.
18 years, wow.
Finished in 1843. And it wasn't a railway tunnel, it was a foot tunnel. And it was a grand foot tunnel, and it was designed to take people from one side of the river. It was the first tunnel built under a navigable river in the world. And,
really?
But it was a success for a short period. I think the first 10 weeks it was opened, 1 million people came to see it and watch it, just have a wander through it, and then its fortunes declined. And by the 1860s, it was sold to a railway company, and this is when it started. The East London Line became effective in December 1869. Over the years, it's been evolved into other things. It was part of the Metropolitan Line for a while, and I think it was the early 2000s, it was transferred to the people who run it now, and it's Transport for London as part of the Overground. Now, the tunnel itself runs from here in Wapping to the other side of the river in Rotherhithe, and if you pop over there to the Rotherhithe side, there is the Brunel Museum, and they actually show you how the tunnel was constructed. Well
cool.
worth a visit. Now, we're going to head that way, we're going to head westwards, and our next stop is, well, just down there. We're talking about guns. So here we are, next stop is this place. This whole thing is called Gun Wharves, and originated in about 1520, so the time of Henry VIII, and this is where they actually built naval cannons, rebuilt in the early part of the Victorian era to these wharves, and nowadays, I think it was the late 90s, they were started to be converted into luxury apartments.
Of course.
I did have a quick look yesterday on one of those websites where you can move houses and what have you, and I think there's a 1-bedroom in there at the moment that's on the market for $750,000. So if you want a bargain, go for it.
Yeah.
Next stop down there, a bit more of King Henry VIII. So let's have a look.
That's cool.
So
I like it.
On my left here is King Henry's Wharves.
Before we continue, I like how they, I wish they, could have been in like a museum or something. Obviously, the whole country is like a giant museum, obvious. But at least, you know, they kept the building, the name, you know, and repurposed it. So I'm good with that. And how cool would it be to say I live at the gun wharves? That'd be pretty awesome.
And we go around the corner into King Henry's Stairs. And we can't go all the way down there, but let's have a go down as far as we can. Now, this is one of the possible sites for execution docks.
Heard of that.
Execution dock was where the pirates were executed back in their day. And it's not really accessible, but there you go. Go onto a beach down there. Oh, you're going to have a... James is being braver than I am, having a look down there. There's a few other sites that could claim to be execution dock. One of them is back east of here. We're not going to show it today, but we'll probably insert a picture. And that's a pub called the Prospect of Whitby. That claims to have been there since 1520. It also claims to be the oldest pub on the riverside of the Thames. Whether that's true or not, we have no idea of saying, because there's a few other pubs that claim the same thing. But there you go.
I think we did a video, and you'll have to remind me. I have to go back and look. But I think we did a video of that place or somewhere near there, I believe. And they were talking about the Hangman docks. I think they even had like a noose there. If I remember correctly. It was a little while ago. It wasn't too long ago, but I think it was not too long ago.
But outside the Prospect of Whitby, on the Thames side, there is a hangman's noose, which is purely for tourist possibilities.
Really?
But there you go. Let's go around the corner. Our first pub of the day, which is the Captain Kidd. Let's go. Before we go up to the first pub, just Phoenix Wharf here, finished in 1840, and it was built by a chap called Sidney Smirk, called Phoenix. I believe there was a fire here that burnt the original wharf down, and this is the one that rose from the flames. But there you go. Anyway, while this car passes, we're going to go across here to the Captain Kidd. So
1840.
make sure there's no traffic.
Yeah, that's
it is a Saturday morning, so
brand
it's
new.
fairly quiet. So let's have a look. So, the Captain Kidd here, only been a pub since, I think, the mid-80s, early 80s, mid-80s. It was a wharf before that.
1980s.
And it contained tea at one point. But who was Captain Kidd and why have they named a pub after him? Well, just briefly, he was a gamekeeper turned poacher, shall we say. Started off as someone who was trying to catch pirates and became a privateer, and then he became a pirate. His crew actually forced him into piracy, shall we say. He was born in Scotland in 1654 and became a sea captain at a young age. And when he was arrested in 1700, in May of 1700, his trial lasted the grand total of just one day. And he was found guilty of murder and piracy.
Jeez.
He was hanged at Execution Dock in May of 1701, and in the 80s they named a pub after him. So James and me are going to go in for a swift half, and then we'll continue our little walk just down the road.
Let's
So
see
you in a
inside.
moment. So we've just left the Captain Kidd after a quick cola. Yeah, I don't drink either. And we're here, just opposite road is the Marine Police. Now, they've been recognised as the oldest police force in the world. They were started and formed in 1798 by the West India Company to try and stop the pilfering that was going on board ships that were docked in the Thames waiting to be unloaded. So it was the company that set it up, and the insurers as well. They were instrumental in helping out in other crimes as well. So, for example, in 1811, they helped out with the Ratcliffe Highway murders that happened just a stone's throw from where we are now. 1829, Metropolitan Police were formed, and in 1839, the Marine Police joined with the Metropolitan Police and became the Marine Unit. And that's how they've been ever since. Now, Inside there is a small museum that's run by retired officers as curators. It's not open generally. You do have to write to them or email them to get permission to go in there, and they invite you in. So it's well worth a visit. I've been in there many years ago, but it is well worth a visit. They've also dealt with other things on the Thames all the way through from the disasters of the Princess Alice in 1878, when about 650 people perished in an accident on the Princess Alice steamboat, and all the way through to modern times. 1989, the sad Marchioness disaster, when the Marchioness pleasure boat was struck by a trawler back then as well. But anyway, our next stop, just down there, another pub and more stairs. So let's go this way. So here we are. We're just walking up now to the town of Ramsgate Pub. Now, the building itself dates back to 1758, but it was built on earlier foundations, and some say those foundations date back to 1545. Some even say it dates back to 1460. And like the prospect of Whitby, this pub claims to be the oldest riverside pub along the Thames. But it was also, wait for the car to go by, it was also, back in the day, a den of cutthroats and vagabonds, shall we say. It's also where press-ganged men would be kept in the cellar.
Press-ganged, yes.
Yes. Those people who were press-ganged, who didn't want to be in the Navy but took the King's shilling, or even just hit on the head, were kept there before they were put on Navy ships. But there you go. It does lead in, however. Oh, by the way, another car. It's a cobbled street. That's why it's a bit noisy around here. By the way, this is where, in 1688, it's alleged that hanging Judge Jeffreys was caught. Judge Jeffreys, there's plenty of things on the internet about him. He was in charge of the bloody assizes after the Monmouth Rebellion in 1688, and he was allegedly caught in here and then taken to the Tower of London, about half a mile or so away, where he died, not through execution, but through kidney failure. It was believed he was a very heavy drinker. This is also where Captain William Bligh and Fletcher Christian had their last drink on British soil before they set off on their ship called the Bounty.
Yes.
You may have heard of that ship.
Yes.
Fletcher Christian led a mutiny on the Bounty, and again, there's plenty of wonderful mini documentaries online all about that. But it does lead here to this place. There's a sign up there, tells you what it is, and that's Wapping Old Stairs. So let's head down here, shall we?
Wapping Old Stairs.
So here we are at Wapping.
I just love the history of these pubs. It's just so fascinating. That's all I'm going to say. Y'all know my fascination with pubs and their history. I just literally could just spend days visiting these places, just learning about all the stuff that happened. It's just crazy.
Old stairs, and yes, the tide is going out, but they are very slippery, so I'm going to take my chances down here, and I think I'll just stay here for the moment. There we are. Right. Wapping Old Stairs, grade 2 listed these days, and well,
they
are
just go
said
right
to
into
date
the
back from
water.
the 18th century, but historians now believe that these are much, much older, and they date back to probably the 15th or 16th century. This is where the watermen would stay and wait to pick up their fares to take across the Thames. It's also where goods were unloaded from cargo ships. It's also probably the most likely spot for Execution Dock as well. Now, Execution Dock was where pirates were dispatched, and their executions were slightly strange, to say the least. They were left hanging just below the tide, and the tide would wash over them 3 times. Then they'd be taken down and tarred and put in a gibbet and taken to the start of the Thames to warn other sailors not to be pirates. Now, in the case of Captain Kidd, who we mentioned earlier, Captain Kidd, when he was executed, the rope snapped the first time, so they had to get another rope for him, and he was hanged a second time. He was taken down, his body was tarred and placed into a gibbet, and I believe I think it was about 3 or 4 years that he was actually, one of the rib experiences going by. It was about 3 or 4 years that he hung in a gibbet at the start of the Thames there. If you think it's familiar, I think it's been in a few series or a few episodes of Doctor Who as well, when they've come along the Thames. And it's also been in a poem And there is a 19th century poem that starts, "Your Molly has never been forced, she declares, since the last time we parted at the Wapping old stairs." But there you are. So we're going to head back up here now, away from the Thames. Because even though the tide's going out, I'm still a bit wary of it. And we're going to go along the Thames path to where we're going to finish this little walk today. See you in a moment.
That's awesome. All right. Sorry for
So we've
saying
left
awesome, but that's cool.
Wapping High Street, and we're now along the Thames path.
Oh, what a great view.
I thought we'd just stop here because, well, who doesn't love a view of Tower Bridge? And we've got the Hermitage moorings here with some Thames barges. And behind us, we've got the Hermitage Memorial Gardens as well. More of that in a second. But just across the river there, you've got Butler's Wharf. Butler's Wharf built in 1873 as warehouses, etc., etc., and then converted into houses and in the mid-80s. And are you beeping, James?
Yes. I don't know why.
You don't know why, but you are beeping.
Yes.
But I can hear that. But we'll carry on if you want to.
Yeah, carry on. Carry on.
We'll cut it. No, keep it in.
Yeah, keep it in.
Shall we're infallible?
Yes.
Fallible.
Fallible. In fact, one of the two.
Shall we make mistakes?
Yeah.
How's that? Right.
No.
Where was I? Butler's Wharf, yes. Converted into housing in the mid-80s, the start of the gentrification and regeneration of the area. Before that, it was actually film studios and photographic studios for a while in the 70s. And Derek Jarman, the innovative film director and pioneer, lived there as well. And of course, got to mention, Tower Bridge opened in June, or officially opened in June of 1894, designed by Sir Horace Jones. Baskerville Bridge opens up, and it's the one that people say is called London Bridge, but it's not, it's Tower Bridge. But there you go. Anyway,
yes.
We're going to head down into the Memorial Gardens now. There used to be a Hermitage Wharf was here, but that got damaged in the Blitz and was demolished. And they wanted to rebuild on here right the way up until the 1990s, but thankfully a ward of court was given, and this was saved as a memorial garden and somewhere green for the local people to come and visit. But we are going to go to the other end because there's one memorial I want to show you, and that will be the end of our little wander around Wapping. Let's go. So our last stop of the day is in these memorial gardens here. I'm actually going to be looking at this rather simple, but I feel quite dignified memorial. It was designed by a lady called Wendy Taylor, and I believe she got a CBE as well. But it was designed as a dove. This is a memorial to all of those civilians who died during the London Blitz in the Second World War. There was tens of thousands of them who lost life and limb. I think it's rather simple, very dignified, and it's the dove of peace. And that today is the end of our little walk along Wapping. We do hope you enjoyed it. If you do come down here to have a walk, I've just given you some of the highlights. If you go further east, you've got the prospect of Whitby. You go further into Limehouse, you've got another pub there called the Grapes. There's some parks there. Again, if you come along this way, there's little memorial gardens, and there's a few other little oases that you can sit in and have a cup of tea or coffee. But there you go. Do hope you enjoy these ones, especially the longer videos. And if you do, then please subscribe, follow, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell anyone. We don't really mind who you tell. And if you want to see what we do outside the videos, have a look for James's channels. They're called Last Line Films. He does really good podcasts as well. And if you go to hishlord.co.uk, you also see what I do. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye for now.
Go support all of that. That is awesome. Thank you, Lord Hume. I appreciate you and what you do. This is another wonderful tour. I enjoy his little walks through the city of London and the surrounding areas. I just find them very fascinating. Yes, London is not the center of England. It is so much more than the city of London, yes. But London does have so much to see, obviously. So I can't wait. And for someone who's never been there, I find it all fascinating. And I know when I eventually get there, I'm not going to be able to see it all. So I enjoy seeing these videos, and he does such a wonderful job, and James behind the camera does as well. So go support James's channel if you are feeling up for it. It's fun, very, very fun. Yeah, Wapping. I'll keep my eye out for it for sure. Yeah, that whole stories of the execution dogs, how numerous places are claiming to be them. I mean, could there be more than one? I mean, couldn't they all be true? A lot of pirates back in those days, so I would imagine, could have many places to deal with them. Yeah, when you talked about press gangs, oh, I remember watching a video about that. What a horrible circumstance you find yourself in at that time. Just wild. I love it. I love the pubs. Yeah. That shot of Tower Bridge, I know not to call it London Bridge, but just beautiful. Very, very, very good. All right. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope everybody's happy, healthy, and safe. Thanks so much for coming along with me. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone. See you later. Bye.
Mark from the States, Mark from the States, it's Mark. Yeah.